we'll continue with the review of past exam. So next week we'll have the test. Make sure you know the time and location. It's in my email. So, point out the mistake in this code. So what is this? This is a hash slice, right? At B indicating it's a hash variable, while you have a slice, that is you have 3 entries in the hash. Key 1 corresponding to value 3, key 2 corresponding to value 2, and key 3 corresponding to value 1. And then you print out the value of the entry with key 1. Because you have the outer quote in here, you must have a backslash in the inner quote. Otherwise, Perl wouldn't know how to parse it. It wouldn't know when the quote will end, right? If you have back quotes here, Perl will know that there's a quote surrounding the inner quote. So fill in the blank for listing all the key value pairs. So here's a hash. Now, this is a $B, right? Dollar is a scalar, right? But however, this is a entry of the hash variable at B. So you're assigning the value B to a key A. Now its key value pair is A, B for one hash entry. Another hash entry is key 111, value A. So this is the syntax for assigning value to a key in a hash variable. Even though it's a $B because you have curly braces after it, it's still a hash variable. So for each $I in keys %B. So keys is this built-in function that returns a list of all the keys, and then you do it for each to iterate over the array variable to grab each one and assign it to the scalar variable $I. So just for review, keys, parentheses, hash variable name, returns a list of all the keys in the hash. So here's a hash variable Bill with 3 entries, and you grab the keys and assign it to a list or array variable. So so add is a array list variable, and % is indicates a hash variable. So you get all the keys. Gates, Clinton, and 234.5 in some random order because hash variables key value pairs are not ordered. You cannot control the order that the keys appear in the resulting list. If there's no elements, then keys returns empty list. Parentheses are optional. So here's the idiom. For each $K, in the list variable keys, print at what key we have what value. So you see the order that it prints out the key value pairs is the random. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, Gates, and then Clinton. So it depends on different per implementations. So another way of printing out a hash is with the each function, where each returns a key value pair. You can assign it to a list variable with 2 entries, $k, $v. So again, the order is undefined. So here's another way. So you do while $k equals each, and then print out I and k. So notice %b is the hash variable. However, when you are indexing, you're assigning values to a key or grabbing values out of a key. You use $b followed by parentheses with the key value, key string. So there's a typo there. Should be curly braces, not the parentheses. So fill in the blank. So the program lists all the key values in dollar in %b. So this is add b. QW is a keyword for constructing a list variable out of a list of strings. So notice here you have add b because it's a hash slice. Remember hash slices? So a hash can be sliced to act as a collection of elements. So this is the syntax of a hash slice. Add b followed by a list collection of key strings can be equal to a collection of value strings. So notice that add b not a %b. So %b is used standalone to indicate a hash variable. Add b is used to in the hash slice to grab a collection of key value pairs, and %b is to grab a single key value pair out of a hash variable. So hash slice can be used to in variable interpolation. So this is the hash slice where Gates cheap is the key value pair, Clinton busy is the key value pair, 245 is the key value pair, and then you grab out Gates Clinton. So this is the variable with 2 entries, Gates and Clinton, and then you get the 2 hash entries with the keys Gates and Clinton with the add key variable. So this is saying that you don't have to have literal strings inside the curly braces. You can have a list variable inside of it as indexes, as keys into the hash variable. So fill in one variable for the blanks to the hash and the two key value pairs where the keys are fruit and fruits. So look at the assignments here, because you have two assignments with key oranges value fruit and key oranges value fruits that are duplicate. So in the hash variable, all keys must be unique. So this means that the first assignment is overwritten. You have a key value pair orange is fruits in the final hash variable. So this one essentially is useless. And now you want to have the keys and fruits. There's a function in Perl for reverse the key value pairs. So you can do hash b %b equals reverse %b. Now when you do a reverse, you have key fruit value apple and key fruit value orange. Again, you run into the problem where in the hash the keys must be unique. Even the values will not be unique, the keys must be unique. So what do you do? In Perl, you essentially only keep one in the reversed hash variable. Which one do you keep is not deterministic. You cannot control it. So after this statement, all you know is that you got a hash variable %b with two keys, fruit and fruits, and the values you don't know. It's depending on implementation. So therefore, reverse is best used when you have a hash variable with unique values, and then you don't have this ambiguity. So what's the output of this Perl program? So what does this do? This line grabs the entire input from SCD-in, a standard input, and assigns it to the list variable. It's an add lines, therefore this is a list variable. Each element in the list is one line. So how do you know when the SCD-in has ended? It's indicated with the control D on the standard input. You enter AAA, return BB, return CC, return, and control D. And then what you get in the add lines is this array of values. The first entry is AAA return /n, BB return is the second entry, and CCC return is the third entry. So that's the effect of this line. Now you assign a new value to add A. So this is saying that assign a null list to the list variable A. So A is an empty list. Now you assign the list of lines to $A. So this is strange because $A is a scalar variable. The result of this statement is to have $A has the dimension, that is the size of the list at lines, which is 3 in this case because you have 3 lines. So you should print out 3 as the answer. So if you assign at lines to at A, then at A is a list variable, a new list variable that contains the same content, a copy of at lines. But you assign it to $A. This is using the list variable at lines in the scalar context. So $A gets the size of the list. And also the lesson here is that at A and $A are completely different variables. So this line has no effect on the value of $A. Which of the commands can execute the following program? So this is the cat that you write yourself. You have a built-in function in shell which is called cat to list the content of the text file. Now you write the command yourself with the Perl script. So it's very simple. Simply while input print. So let's review file IO. Right. So okay. Let's start earlier. So we saw this kind of input before, right? So input from stdin. So this is the command for reading a line from the input. $A, which is a scalar variable. Scalar variable is a string. You can get input. If the stdin is control D, that is the end of the file, end of the input, you get undef. But if you have at A, then at A gets the entire input up until control D. So $A reads one line at a time. At A grabs all the lines until control D. So that's the difference between these two. So one way of reading all the lines is to do it one line at a time. So well defined, $line equals this, and process the $line. So actually defined is optional. You don't have to have it because undef will also let cause the while to exit. So, or you can, so that's the this way of reading in all the inputs. Or you can say at lines equals the stdin. So it grabs all the lines until control D. and then you can process the list of strings. So shortcut of reading SDE into $_. So remember, if you don't specify any variable name, $_ is the default variable you use to store any input variable. So while SDE same as well-defined this guy. So if you omit the assignment to variables, you automatically get $_. So you can print $_, or you can just say print without this thing. So it'll be the same effect as a print $_ without the return /n, of course. So if you have this guy, then it gets the data from the file, not from stdin, and then you can everything else is the same. So this is the very simple way of printing out a file. Going back to this question, so this is the very simple cat script, and now you want to see which of the commands are legal commands for using this particular script. So this is the all of the above are fine because so these two are the same, right? In the shell script, if you can omit the left angular bracket to indicating input redirection. So this is to redirect the input from stdin to the file input. You can omit this less than symbol with the same effect. Or you can say cat input, that's the built-in shell command cat, and pipe the output to the command per IO2. So a pipe is a redirection of the output of one command into the input of another command. So all of the above are legal commands. So make files, you have the dependencies. So ABC is an executable file that is built with from two object files, A.O and B.O. And A.O is built from A.cpp, A.h, and C.h. B.O is built from C.h, B.cpp, and B.h. So you run a makefile for this particular dependency. So as a result of running the make, you should do G++, which is the C++ compiler from GNU, -C, indicating you're compiling a C file, and C++ -O is output is ABC from the object file A.O and B.O. So and make clean removes the object, all the object files. So here's the makefile. Makefile is managing the dependencies between different files. So ABC is the executable file that's dependent on A.O, B.O. And the command for building that file is this command. G++ -O output ABC from A.O, B.O. A.O is dependent on these three files, and the command for building that is this. Building A.O is this. And this is the another dependency. And finally, clean is this keyword in makefiles for, if you say make clean, it'll execute the command after the clean keyword. With the tab here is mandatory. This is the syntax of makefiles. You must have a tab. And when you make clean, it'll execute remove star.o to remove all the object files. So what is the use of use strict? It forces all the variables to refer a declaration with my, makes them all local variables. So this is good software engineering practice. By default, all the Perl variables are global. So if you have use strict, you force the variable to be local. Therefore, you have better encapsulation. Just like in the C function, all the variables in the function are local to the function. So that's what we like to happen in Perl if you use strict. So the benefit is that all variables are local, so we will never reference wrong variable belonging to a different scope because of typos. So this is the function for getting the max of a collection of numbers. So here's the effect. So max of 152 is 5. Max of 552, etc. is 7. So how do you write the function with Perl? So here's the function. Function in Perl is sub. Sub is the keyword subroutine. So for each a in $underscore, add underscore. Notice add underscore. This is the argument list to a subroutine. For each argument, if the argument is greater than max, then assign it to max. Finally, return max. So actually, in this subroutine, in this script, you don't have the use strict. So all the variables are global, but it's okay because every time you will reassign max to 0. So that's okay. Even though you have a single global copy of max, that's fine. So very simple. File I/O. Reading the file to delete all the new lines and produce the following output. So Alright, so the effect is that you read in the input file and strip off all the new lines and stomp the output to the output file. So as a result of executing this command, you get the output file A, B, 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 C, C without any new lines. So you got one more C here. So if the input file is you cannot open it, then you get a error message. If the output file cannot be opened, you get a error message. And input file error message must also have the line number where the error occurred. So here's the fill in the blanks in file. Obviously, you can see in file is a scalar variable from. Let's look at the answer. argv0. So this is the zeroth argument to the Perl script. So recall add underscore, right? Add underscore is the argument list to the subroutine, but argv is argument list to the script from the command line. So argv0 is the first argument. argv1 is the second argument. Unless is the if not, right? If the open is a failure, then you die with the error message. So, and unless open out is a failure, if the open out is a failure, then you die with another error message. So notice the open in, open out. Open for input, you don't have the greater than sign. Open for output, you must have this sign, so indicating you're opening it for output. And also notice the die, the use of die. So die is like exit, it prints out error message before stopping the program. So so if you leave off the new line, then die will attach the line number where it died. So here you don't have the new line. You don't have the new line here, so it will print out where it died at line 4 of the script. So this is the shortcut for using die. Open or die. So this variable $exclamation contains the error string from the operating system. So this is more information. You see this guy will print out why you not opened it. No such file directory. That's one error message. Another possibility is that no permission denied. So here you have the error message, and also you omit the new line. Therefore, you will print out the error message from the operating system plus the line number. So for the next opening the output file, you don't have you have the new line and you don't have the $exclamation mark. Therefore, you only print out error opening file. You don't print out any error messages. And also, how to remove all the new lines? You do a chunk. So add lines is as I said before, it's a list variable that contains the entire content of the input file. And you do a chunk, you remove all the new lines, and then you can print out add lines. So you get the effect of removing all the new lines from the input file and dumping the output to the output file. Don't forget to close the files after you use them. Regular expressions. So you want to match, you want to flip the 0 and 1s and print the output to the standard output. So you have an input 10001, etc. You want to flip it to produce 0111, 0111, etc. So that's the effect you want to achieve. What's regular expression for doing that? Pretty simple. So you substitute all the 1s with A and then you substitute all these zeros with 1, and then you substitute all the A's with 0. G means global. You do a global substitution. Without the G, you only substitute the first occurrence, which is not what you want. And notice also you have a dollar line as the input variable. Therefore, you must use dollar line equal tilde to do regular expression matching. If you omit dollar line equal something, you just then you have dollar underscore as the default variable. Then you don't need you don't need this part. You just can simply put a regular expression as a single line. It will match against dollar underscore. But here you have the explicit variable dollar line, so you must write out dollar line equal tilde. So regular expression to match 3 numbers less than 1,000 separated by 2 periods. So this is the match. This is the match. These are not matches because you have 4 digits in the first number. So the answer is, remember the special notations in regular expression. \d indicates a digit. Repeat it 1, 2, 3 times. That is 1, 2, 3 digits, followed by a single dot. So dot in regular expression indicates any character. So if you want to match a literal dot, you need to escape it with the backslash. So this indicates a dot. If you don't have the backslash, it will match anything. So followed by another 103 digits, followed by a dot and this. And finally, you have the dollar in the end, and hat in the beginning indicates that there must be nothing before and after this pattern. So hat indicates beginning of the line, and dollar indicates end of the line. So without these symbols, then you can have something coming before and after this pattern, which is not what you want. Just to review the regular expression special regular expressions. So D in the corresponds to a digit. Big D is a non-digit. So here, hat within the square brackets indicates not a digit. Well, the hat outside the square brackets indicates beginning of the line, so it has different meanings depending on the context. So the small w, backslash small w, is the word character. It's A to Z, lower uppercase, or 0 to 9. And big W is non-word, and small s is space. Backslash big S is non-space. Space includes real space, or a tab, or a new line. So you need to memorize these shortcuts. To match the string containing both ABC and XYZ. So containing both of these, So matches ABC and matches XYZ. Pretty simple. So if it matches ABC, it means that anything can come after and before an ABC. Therefore, this is correct. You can write a single regular expression to match this pattern, but it'll take you some thought. So this is simpler with two regular expressions. So per program matches the strings that start and end with the same character. So it matches ABA, matches a single A, because it starts and ends with A. Doesn't match ADD, doesn't match AHJI. So here's the regular expression. Remember, parentheses regular expression indicates memorize this particular pattern and reuse it later. So parentheses start indicates a single character. Hat here indicates is the beginning of the string. So it's the very first character of the string. You memorize it, and then you can reuse it later with the $I or backslash $1 or backslash 1, both referring to the element that you saved before. So this means dot star indicates any character repeated 0 or more times. That can happen, that can be in between this character in the beginning and the same character in the end. So this is indicating the same character at the beginning of the line and the character at the end of the line. Or it's a single character. The single dot matches any character. Hat before it and dollar after it. This indicates that this line, this string must have a single element with any character and nothing else. So this will match a single character like A. So this is memory, pattern memory, just for review. Use the parentheses around any pattern to put that part of the string into memory. And recall memory, you use backslash followed by an integer. So this will match Bill followed by a single character, any character, followed by Gates, and followed by the same character. Also, you can use the $1. So this is saying any character repeated here, any character repeated here. So it'll match A dash. So this is a dash and this is an exclamation mark. So right? have more than one character in the pattern part, so have dot star. So we can match more than one character and recall it later. Okay. Directory access. So this is a variant of the example in the lecture notes for recursive descent of the directory tree and printing out the entries. So list recursively all the directories and files underneath a given directory, and rename all the .txt files into .abc. So this is essentially calling the same script within your script. So it's a recursive call. And do a substitution in the middle. So this is substitution. That S stands for substitute, and any dot text, you have to have backslash dot because you want a real dot, not any character, and substitute it with .abc. So you don't need to have a global in the end because the file is assumed to only have a single suffix of .text. So you only have to match the first .text and replace it. So in your lecture notes, you should review the shell programming. This example, which is a recursive shell script for printing to a listing of all the directories and adding a leading colon character at each level of the directory. So that question in the exam is just the same concept except you use curl instead of shell script. So this is recursively calling the same LDREC recursive directory listing each time with different arguments of subdirectories, and every time adding one more level of colons. So you should review this example to understand the concept of recursion. So process management, write a program that stores the result of the date command in a variable now. So here's the command. Notice you have back quotes. Back quotes indicates execute the command and place the output of the command into the variable now. If you have double quotes, it'll put the DATE into now. But back quotes will do an execution of the command. Print out the line containing the string ABC in 123.txt. So you want to use grep. The command is grep ABC and then 123.txt. but you want to do it in a Perl program. So you use the system keyword to indicate that you want to use the shell to execute this particular command, because grep is a shell command, right? You do not have a keyword grep in Perl, so you must use the system keyword to indicate you want to go out to the shell, execute the command, and then come back to Perl. And also, notice the system is a peculiar call in Perl in that if it's successful, it returns 0. If it's unsuccessful, it returns non-zero. So if you do an if check for the successful failure, it's opposite from a regular Perl command. So if you say, if not, system parentheses something do, and then it's successful. Otherwise, it's unsuccessful. Display the first lines of each file in the current directory. What is wrong with that? So for each, this is a wildcard to indicate matches all the files in the current directory. Notice that this is not a regular expression because you don't have the // This is simply a wildcard. And then open the file. So for each, you don't have an explicit variable assignment, therefore you use the default variable $_. You open it, open the output file. So the idea here is to pipe the output to the head across 3, which is the command to display the first 3 lines. But so therefore this is incorrect. You should use pipe. And you grab all the input file content into the list variable add data, and print the add data list to the out file handle, and close the input and output. So quite a few errors. For file handles, you don't have the you don't have the angular brackets. And when you're opening the file, $_ is a variable in itself. You don't need the you shouldn't have the quotes around it. It's a variable, a scalar variable in itself. So if you have quotes, then you're opening a file with the name $_, literally, which is not what you want. You want the variable represented by $_ to be opened. And just to review the file I/O. Open a file, closing a file handle, die. Yeah, I don't know where that is. So anyway, I just wanted to explain this. So this is saying out is a file handle, but it's not referring to a real file on the disk. It is actually a trick to place whatever you print into out, pipe the content to the head command. So that as a result, whatever you print to out will get piped to the head command and displayed. So if you had the open out and angular greater than sign and file name, then you print out a real file. But this pipe command is different. So you can also say pipe LPR to indicate you want the output to be printed directly without being saved to a file first. So list all the users that are logged on. So you have the regular expression here. Remember, small s, a backslash small s is a space, which includes space, tab, and new line. So backslash big S is non-space. So as a result of the command, you get a single string with a space, a non-space, and space non-space. So you want to match the non-space parts and assign the non-space parts to variables. So as a result, the first non-space plus, so that's one or more non-space characters, is assigned to the user $user variable, and followed by a bunch of space characters, followed by another non-space character, which gets assigned to loc variable, followed by the rest of the string. Dot star. That's the whole thing. So it's a greedy, right? Regular expression match is greedy, so you can match as long as possible. Dot star will match the remaining line and assign it to a $time. So you have 3 parentheses here. So and when you assign it to a list of variables, you must have 3 entries in the list. Each one match getting the value of each of the parentheses. So this is for the who command. You get all the currently logged on users with their information, username, location where he logged on, that is the terminal name, and followed by the time, date. So, and followed by a new line and then another entry. So you do this for each $_ who, you assign each line to $_, and then you can do the matching. Notice here you have a simple assignment, that is, you don't have the variable equal tilde to match the regular expression. This is because you have the string in $_. So having a single regular expression without any string name means that you match it against $_. So singular regular expression is equivalent to $_ equal tilde. So this can be omitted if you're matching against $_. HTML. So you have a bunch of requirements. That's what you want. So the HTML document, you have a title within the head section, the body with the background color equal. This is the particular color. And text is white. So in this case, 66, I think it's black. Some colors have textual names like white, black, blue. some colors you can fine-tune the colors with the actual RGB values. So you can have a very, very strange color if you have a different number. And then you have a P indicating it's a paragraph. Align center means that it's centered on the screen. And the font is size 8. Size 8 is a large font. So, and bold. So remember, HTML tags, you always have a beginning tag and end tag. Beginning tag doesn't have the /, end tag has the /. And then you have an image. So image command is img followed by a source with the image file path and a hyperlink with the A followed by href, hypertext reference, followed by the path name. HR is horizontal ruler, so it's a horizontal line. So CGI script, paper, scissors, rock. So this is a simplified version of your lab. So here's the screen. You're going to display paper, scissors, rock on the top, and then you'll have a pop-up selection box with 3 entries. So the user selects the entry, and the computer selects another one randomly, and you say who wins. So this is a partial program. So you must have this line in order to use all the you can say print header and print star HTML. These are built-in functions in the standard package. Otherwise, you must print literally each of the HTML tags. But with the standard package, you can say header parentheses instead of the literal tags. Print header h1. Level 1 header, and grab the parameters, assign them to values. Because you have use strict, you must have my to indicate you have a private copy. So this is the idiom for grabbing a random element from among the 3, paper, scissors, and rock. The rand3 is a built-in function for returning a floating point variable in the range from 0 to 3. So if you use it this is a list variable. If you use it as an index, it'll be used as an integer from 0 to 2. Therefore, this is the correct behavior. So, because in the list variable, it can't from 0. So, therefore, rand3 will have the correct effect. And if it's equal to guess, notice EQ is the string equal. Well, double equal sign is the numeric equal. If it's equal, then it's a draw. Otherwise, if it's these patterns, then you say who wins and who loses, etc. So notice also. So if the general pattern of a CGI program is if the widget has a value, then you do some print. Else, if the widget doesn't have a value, then you print the form. So that's the general. So the first time you invoke the script, you haven't entered anything yet. Therefore, build value will return null. And you execute the else branch to print out the form. And then when you enter the value in the form and click enter, click submit button, this script will be executed again, and build value will be non-null. Therefore, it will execute the if branch and skip the else branch. So first time you see this screen, and then when you click on enter, you get this screen. So depending on if you have values in the box, if it's first time you invoke the script or not, it'll execute different branches of the if. So server push program. So you want to update for 25 times. First, you print out 0. Second, you print out double 0. Third update, you print out triple 0. And on the 25th time, you print out done. So here's the program to use CGI : push standard so that you can use the do push function. Do push next page dash next page followed by the function name dash last page followed by the last page function name. So in the next page function, you grab the argument of the function, add underscore, and assign it to two scalar variables, q and counter. So the first $q we didn't discuss in class, so we don't care what it means. We only care about the second argument, which is the number of times this particular script is invoked. So that is the number of times the do push is invoked. So, and then you repeat the 0 counter times. So the first time you print out a single 0, next time you print out 2 zeros. So X is this keyword, this is operator for repeating a string however many times. This is not star, which is multiply. This is X, so string duplication. And if counter is greater than or equal to 25, you return undef. This indicates to the do push function that you should go to the last page function subroutine now. So last page says simply returns a single HTML document with a done as the body. So. And this should be executed 0.1 seconds. Every 0.1 seconds, you invoke the next page and finally last page. So, okay, any questions? So I have another old exam to show you. So I put this online later. So I'll give you a few minutes to look at it. So what is dollar pound? The dollar pound is the last index of the last entry of the list, which is equal to 2, because the 0, 1, 2, right? So this is saying from 0 to 2, you print out, you add each entry of A to N. So it's 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. Which is 10. So, for each reverse, reverse here, this is reversing a list variable, so what you get is 765. And then you have a do loop within the for each. So, push, so add A is a list variable that you've never seen before, right? This means that it's by default a empty list. So you're pushing the value to the empty list, push adds element to the right. Unshift adds element to the left. So unshift and shift adds and deletes elements from the left, while push and pop adds and deletes elements from the right. So you're pushing the element to the right of add A. So the first time you do this, you get add A with the single element 7. And then 7 minus minus, you get 6. You do this until this guy is equal to 4. And then you jump out, right? So in the do loop, you push 7, and then push 6, and then push 5. And then 4, you jump out. So after you actually the do loop, you get 765 in the A array. The next for each, you get grab a 6 from the reversed B list, and then you push on 6, 5, and then 4 will jump out. Next time you get a 5 and push 5 to it, and you jump out at 4. So what you get is this 765, that's due to the first 7. 65 due to the second 6. And 5 due to the last 5. Right, any questions? So this is quite simple. So this is a hash variable bill, and you have this is a hash slice with the keys 3 to 1. So key 3 is 67. Key 2 is very excited because $n is 2. And 1 is very rich. So you get 67, very excited, very rich. So this line here is assigning 4 key value pairs. 4.7 is 4, 5, 6, 7. And 4 and very is a key value pair. 5, famous, is another pair. 6 plus is another pair, etc. So you delete 5 and 6 entries, and then you only have 4 and very, and 7 and nervous as the key value pairs. So sort values percent bill. So values percent bill returns a list of values with unpredictable ordering. Now you do a sort, then it do an alphabetical sort and assign it to add a list variable. And you do a reverse bill and print add a. So add a is simply the collection of values, which is nervous. Nervous appears twice because you have one key value pair Mr. and nervous, another is 7 nervous. So values will return 2 nervous entries, which is okay because values can be duplicated while keys cannot. And 1 rich and 2 varies. So that's both okay. Now this line is just to confuse you. This has no effect on the value of add a because it happens after the add a has been assigned. So add a gets a copy of all the values sorted. So afterwards we will change the hash bill, $% bill hash variable. It doesn't affect add a anymore. If you switch the order of these 2 lines, then you get a different answer. So write a program like catch, but reverses the order of all the lines in the command line. So here's F1 with 2 lines, 1, 2, F2 with 2 lines, 3, 4, and you do cat F1, F2, you get output 4, 3, 2, 1, which is the entry is reversed. So both the content of the file line order is reversed, and also the files themselves are reversed. So F2 appears first, and F1 appears next. So here's the script. So this reads in one line at a time and assigns the string to $_. You push the string into lines. As a result, you get you get 3, 4, and to do a reverse, you get 4, 3. So, or you can do unshift, so you don't have to do a reverse later. So push is equivalent to this. So you're adding the entry to the left, and unshift is equivalent to this, adding entry to the left. Okay, so regular expression to match any number of backslashes followed by any number of asterisks. So the key here is to have the escape. So because backslashes and asterisks star have special meaning in regular expression, so you must have escape backslash preceding the backslash to indicate you want a literal backslash and a literal star. And then this star and this star means that 0 or more times. So okay. What regular expression would match a line that contains bill and gates in the same line? Order does not matter. So this is the one. Either bill gates separated by $star. $star matches any character repeated any number of times. So it matches anything essentially. Or gate $star bill. So this is a or choice in regular expressions. And you must have parentheses if you have the or choice within the regular expression. For regular expression will match up to 7 A's followed by any character followed by 5 or more pluses. Up to 7 A's. So A 0 to 7. So that's up to 7 A's. Any character is a star. 6 of any character, star. This is a 6 of any character. 5 or more pluses. So 5 comma empty is 5 or more, and plus you must escape it with the backslash. Matches consecutive copies, 3 consecutive copies of whatever is contained in $bill. So you can do this or this. So here $bill is a variable. So the regular expression would substitute the content of $bill inside of it before doing the matching. Construct an expression to match all lines that contain all the lowercase letters BILL But the letters are in order, but there may be any other character in between. So very simple. B dot star I dot star L dot star L. So dot star matches anything. Or you can have dot star and dot star before and after the pattern, which are redundant because by default anything can come after and before the regular expression pattern. So unless you place a hat in the beginning and dollar in the end, then it'll indicate nothing can come before and after it. Otherwise, anything goes. So this is really redundant. These two dot stars. Whereas expression would match a line that contains bill, where bill must be bordered by a line and white space. So you have a bill preceded by either a hat indicating the beginning of the string, or a space, white space, followed by either a white space or a end of the line, end of the string. So it'll match all these, but not this, because here bill is preceded by an A, not a beginning of the line or a white space. So which substitution? This substitution will produce what on the following line? So this is matching substitute bill followed by any characters, any number of times, followed by great, and replace it with Mr. Bill is funny. So the key here is to know that regular expression matching is greedy, so it'll match the longest possible string. So it'll match all the way up to here, up to the last grade, and replace this whole thing with Mr. Bill is funny to get Mr. Bill is funniest, which is not even correct in terms of grammar. So it will not stop at the first or second grade. So it'll go all the way up to the third grade. This program so you have 5 to 9, N1, N2, and 3, and call the subroutine test, passing the arguments 2 and 9. So this is making a private copy of N1 and N2. So this N1 and N2 inside of test is different from the N1 and N2 outside of the test in the main. So by using the my, you produce a private copy. So this means N1 is 2, N2 is 9, and you print N1 N2 2, 9. Return 9 minus 2, which is 7. And then assign to N1 outside of this subroutine. So this N1 is a global variable N1. So you get N1 equals 7. So you print here you get 7 to 9, following the first print of 2, 9. So you get 2, 9, 7, 2, 9. It's the answer. So just remember that you have a my here, so the L1 and L2 here within the subroutine is distinct. They're distinct variables that do not affect the values outside of the subroutine. What is in after this program? So this is a little bit, you just need to understand what control flow does. So I'll skip this one. This one. So what is last? Last is like exit. It goes not exit. Exit goes out the program. Exit the program, but the last jumps out of the loop. Next skips the rest of the loop and goes up to the top of the loop, like the next in C++. Redo goes to the top of the loop without testing the condition again. So it goes up to the if, not to the while. So next goes up to the while. Redo goes up to the if. So let's trace this thing. Initially n is equal to 2, and after the while you get n equal 1. Then if returns false, skip it, and then n equals 3. And this if matches, right? Less than equal to 3. You go to next. Next goes up to the while. So after the while, n equal to 2. So this doesn't match. So n now equal to 4. So now this doesn't match. Now n now equal to 7. Now this matches. Go to redo. So redo skips the rest of the loop and goes up to if, not to while. So 7 doesn't match. So falls down to here, which is n is equal to 9. 9, this doesn't match, so skip it. So now n equal to 12. So, and now this doesn't match, so skip it. So down here, n equal to 13. So you go up to the top. Now n is equal to 12. Now this matches. Last exits the loop. So finally n is equal to 12. So this means you must understand what last, next, and redo does. Per copy is one call to another. So really simple. So you can cheat. You can use the shell copy command to a system. So that'll work. But suppose you have another requirement that says you must do a reverse copy to reverse all the contents before dumping the output to the output file. Then you cannot use the cp built-in command anymore. So this is the way to do it. So this is a regular copy. So simply open input file, open output file, first and second argument, grab all the input and save it in the list, and print it to the output, and close the files. So this is another recursive search, and we'll match something that contains will. In the file name, you print out the file, and unlink deletes the file. This is the delete file command within Perl. Else to recursive call. So it's an HTML document. Very simple. I'll skip it. So this is also pretty simple. So TGI script, if param the param with the widget name returns the value that you enter in the widget. But param with a single parenthesis means that if any of the widget has been filled out, that is, if any of the param returns a non-null value, param parentheses will return non-null. So this guy will say if any of the for widget has been filled out, then execute this branch. Grab all the values of the widgets and print it. Or if this guy is null, it means that nothing has been filled out. This means that it's the first time that you invoke the script. Print out the form. So in the lectures we had this P followed by parentheses. It turns out parentheses is always optional in Perl. So in this exam question, you didn't have the parentheses, so that's fine too. You can just have comma. We have a Perl that prints out all the users and reloads the data every 5 seconds. So this is a do push. So because this guy doesn't terminate, it'll run forever. So next page and last page functions are both the same function, next page. And you save the output of the finger command into add data, and simply print it out in the HTML document. So okay, so the exam will be roughly the same format as what I showed in the sample exams. Roughly the same level of difficulty. So any questions? So okay, I'll see you next week. Okay, good luck. Thank you.